This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for USVI News. I'm Haley Potter in for Emily Matson. Celebrations are underway in Britain to mark Queen Elizabeth's 70 years on the throne. The Platinum Jubilee kicked off on Thursday. Ian Lee reports the latest for us tonight from London.
The Royal Air Force soared through the sky in a salute to Queen Elizabeth's 70-year reign. The Queen smiled from a balcony at Buckingham Palace as pomp and pageantry played out on the streets below. Her appearance came after the ceremonial Trooping the Colour, with soldiers performing another royal salute to the monarch.
It's a massive milestone. No British monarch in history has ever reached a Platinum Jubilee, and we are unlikely to ever see it again.
The 96-year-old Queen took the throne 70 years ago. Most Brits today have never known another monarch.
I just think it's an amazing thing that the Queen's been on the throne for 70 years. It's quite historic.
The Jubilee is a 4-day national celebration here, filled with concerts, street parties, and packed full of British pride.
I am a Queen fan. I think it just reminds me of good memories from childhood of doing all the Jubilee stuff at school.
The Queen isn't getting around as easily as she used to, so she won't attend every event. But she is setting time aside for family, like Prince Harry and Meghan, who flew in from California with their 2 children.
It's very likely that Harry and Meghan will visit the Queen on Saturday for Lilibet's first birthday. She's never met her before. I mean, that will be an extraordinary meeting. How sweet will that be?
Speaking of sweet, what's a party without a pudding, as Brits call it? The Jubilee's official dessert, a 7-layer lemon trifle in honor of the Queen's 7 decades of service.
And one of the biggest events in the 4 days of festivities will be a platinum party at the Palace, a concert featuring big names like Diana Ross, Elton John, and Alicia Keys. This weekend, it's a day of celebration for basketball superstar Elia Boston to recognize all of her success. The Office of the Governor and Sports Parks and Recreation are hosting an Elia Boston Day hometown celebration this coming weekend. On Saturday, June 4th, they'll unveil a sign at the King Airport for the NCAA women's basketball star, who, of course, hails from St. Thomas. They'll also have a parade down Veterans Drive and a ceremony at the Waterfront Promenade. As the National Player of the Year, Boston helped lead the South Carolina Gamecocks to a national championship this year. And while in the territory, she will be hosting basketball camps for young female basketball players in both districts this summer. Elia Boston Celebration Day on June 4th starts with the sign unveiling at 10 in the morning. Switching gears now to the latest COVID-19 numbers here in the territory, which were announced at the Governor Bryan's press conference earlier on this week. Health officials are currently tracking a total of 664 active COVID-19 cases across the territory, with the most significant amount on St. Croix, according to a total of 487 active cases, 147 on St. Thomas, and 30 on St. John. We have some new information on the latest mass shooting in America. This time, gunfire left 4 people and the shooter dead at a hospital up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There are reports this morning indicating the gunman may have been targeting a specific doctor at the facility. According to police, that still unnamed gunman used a rifle and a handgun to kill 4 people at a Tulsa medical building on Wednesday afternoon. Tulsa police say the shooter also died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police responded to the call about 3 minutes after dispatchers received the report and made contact with the gunman roughly 5 minutes later. It's, of course, the latest in a series of deadly mass shootings across the country, including the killing of 19 children and 2 teachers at a Texas elementary school last week, and the killing of 10 people at the Tops supermarket in Buffalo, New York the week prior. It's led to Democratic leaders renewing their calls for more gun control measures, while Republicans are emphasizing the need for more mental health resources and more security at schools. Meantime, Pfizer and Biontech have asked the Food and Drug Administration for emergency use authorization for their COVID-19 vaccine in children ages 6 months to 5 years. Trial results released last week show the vaccine appears safe and has a strong immune response. A month after the children in the trial got their 3rd dose, tests showed the vaccine produced a similar immune response as 2 doses in 16 to 25-year-olds. That's according to data released by Pfizer and BioNTech. Trial results also show the vaccine had an 80.3% efficacy rate against symptomatic COVID in the youngest age group. However, more testing is needed to finalize the efficacy rate. An FDA panel will discuss Pfizer's emergency use authorization request on June 15th, along with Moderna's request. A major airline carrier will fly baby formula from Europe to the U.S. for free. Wednesday, the White House announced United Airlines has agreed to fly Kendamil formula free of charge from Heathrow airports in London. The flights will span over a 3-week period and land at multiple airports across the country. Kendall NutriCare is the United Kingdom-based manufacturer of the Kendamil infant formula. The company plans to export 2 million cans to the U.S. to be sold nationwide and online. United will fly in over 300,000 pounds of Kendamil formula starting on June 9th. 2 shipments from Australia are also planned for next week. About 250,000 cans will be on board those flights. The White House says this is part of its Operation Fly Formula efforts to combat the baby formula shortage. Good news for Americans in the job market. There are more jobs available than people searching for one, but the massive numbers of openings has created a worker shortage that has many businesses struggling to survive. Here's the latest.
Last week, the Roanoke restaurant served its last meal. After dishing out comfort food for 81 years, the Southwestern Virginia business closed, and the ongoing worker shortage is a major reason why.
Things just got worse. I don't know where the employees went, but you can't hire anybody. You can't even get anybody to come for an interview.
The Roanoke is far from alone. The latest data shows there were 11.4 million job openings on the last day of April, which remains near a recent record high.
There were almost 2 open jobs for every unemployed worker. Workers have more negotiating power than they've had in years past.
Greg McBride is the chief financial analyst at Bankrate and says employers are not only struggling to find new workers, it's also difficult to keep the ones they have. 4.4 million Americans quit jobs in April, which is close to a record.
Is the case that people are leaving or resigning one job for a better job?
We saw the 11th consecutive month of more than 4 million workers quitting their jobs. And this is an environment where workers are quitting. They're not moving to the sidelines. They're moving to a better paying job elsewhere.
This adult care facility in Northern California lost employees during the pandemic.
We saw a 20 to 30% reduction in our workforce.
They're trying to recruit new workers, but aren't able to compete with the wages many other employers offer. The facility is cutting back services and hours until those positions can be filled. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.